How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Worldology. So today we have a top 10 weapons list after this patch with all the limb multipliers and everything that's going on in the current game. So those of you who doesn't know, I just took a break off of Battlefield. I think it was about a week or so, but just to clear up a little bit, updates wasn't really that perfect for the game, and coming back and seeing what everybody was saying about the updates and everything regarding to this game, about the limb multipliers and the fixed gunplay, right? It's actually something very interesting, right? Like, I'm gonna tell y'all about my thoughts and things on current update after this video. Not after the video, but sometime in another video. Right now, I do like the updates and whatnot, and there are some things that's needs to be fixed still, but there are some really good things regarding to this game, like that they added, like the contracts and everything. But I'm gonna get to that in a different video. So first and foremost, the top 10 weapons in this list, it's not going to be 1 through 10 like in order type of category. This is going to be no order. Some you will notice that some are more powerful than the other anyway, so it's going to be just weapons of my feeling. I'm not going to go by the stat charts that the SGG, those guys, the people who makes the the notes on all the weapon categories. I'm not going to go off of those charts. I'm going to go off of my feel and how I use them in the game. Easily just look it up and just make a category off of that, because almost every gun that's very powerful in this game, it gets used all the time, and there's no variety of different underrated weapons that nobody barely use, and they are actually pretty decent if you know what you're doing with those weapons, right? And can combat against the good weapons in certain situations. So first and foremost, I'm going to give y'all my first weapon on this list, and yes, it is the weapon in the background, and it's the NVO. NVO, it is a very, very decent weapon. I know back then I did say I did not like that weapon. The weapon was, it wasn't really up to my alley, but as soon as I got a build that I could build with this weapon, and after this update, I'm surprisingly getting more headshots than I can actually remember. And yeah, he got annihilated right there, and that's the headshot I'm talking about. So the NVO, it got to me, it got to my heart, and it just needed a little bit of a more play to it. And yeah, the gun is very, very nice, and not many people use it. Yes, it is one of the most powerful weapons in the game, but obviously there are some other powerful weapons in the game that gets these weapons like the NVO overlooked. And I'm going to go to the second weapon, which is the AK-4D. So the AK-4D is my favorite weapon in the game. Obviously the G3, it's a very historic weapon in the BF3 category of the Battlefield franchise, and it is pretty decent. It's not necessarily the best weapon, but you will get outgunned in certain situations, even with good weapons. And with the new cryogenic bars, right, those got added to the game, and now these weapons are even more powerful. So in regards to those cryogenic bars coming to the game, the AK-4Ds and the rest of the other weapons that's going to be in this category, they could possibly be one of the greats in Battlefield 6 at this current moment. The SG might get overtaken at some point, who knows? But the AK-4D is a very good weapon. You do need a lot of bit of kind of a mid-range, a long-range type of mindset when it comes to that weapon, because no, you can't really use it in close quarter situations, because if you do, even though you can outgun people, you do have that short 20-round mag, and you gotta prioritize that, especially when you don't really have a nice high fire rate with that weapon. So it is a very good weapon, but you need to pay attention to how you use it. And the next weapon is going to be an LMG in this situation. So it's going to be the M123K. The M123K is, in my opinion, is better than the DRS, because I use it to a different ability. And yes, there is a main situation of the DRS being way better than the M123K, but again, for me, I think the M123K is very underrated. And yes, it can be on par with the DRS, but yes, it's the second place. It got the silver medal in that list, but it's still a good weapon. It has a high fire rate, like 800 with about 100 rounds in it. And yes, if you can get the mobility up, the mobility can even make the weapon better, because the mobility in this game actually matters, because you know not every weapon has the same mobility rate like in previous battlefields like BF3 and BF4 and you know the other battlefields like that. So you got to prioritize that mobility very quickly so you can move around quick. Thing with the M123K is that it doesn't really be, I haven't seen anybody kill me with it that too often, but again it does take a little while to get used to a big weapon like that, especially with the mobility, because you have to play very slow with that type of LMG, which is why the DRS is very powerful considering the M123K's mobility. So again, you have to take it with a grain of salt, but in my opinion, I think the M123K is, you know, a better choice for me if I have to choose between the DRS and the M123K. So we're going to the next weapon. It's going to be a carbine. So we're going to have to go with my favorite carbine in the game, the M277. So the M277, it is a beast in the carbine category. It doesn't really get that much love. It gets overlooked because of the 20-round magazine and you know all of that stuff, right? I don't even know why people would overlook. That's why I don't even have no options on how it's even getting overlooked, right? But the M277, it is a beast of nature, it's freak of nature, it's force of nature, it's all of those natures that's combined to be force, right? So the M277, yes, you have to prioritize your positioning and your close awareness, because you are going to be able to use this gun in close quarter situations because of the mobility in this game, and it does has a fast ADS sight, so it kind of plays like a assault rifle in that manner. But you, again, since it's a battle rifle or a carbine, you have to prioritize that magazine can go out very quickly, because again it's, I think, about 600 rounds per minute or 700 rounds per minute, but it is a very detrimental magazine loss time. You can, it will go away pretty quickly, because I experienced those situations where I didn't even realize that I was going low in certain situations, and I still don't, because you know, playing in a fast game like this, yeah, it gets to that time, but you have to prioritize it, and you have to, you know, fail in certain situations, because you know, if you don't prioritize that magazine and you don't practice that magazine capacity and having to save in certain situations, then you're going to give up on a weapon like the M277. So it takes a little bit more skill comparing to the other weapons in this list and other people's categories, right? So SMGs, the two SMGs that I have is going to be first the SCW10. The SCW10 is still the one of the most powerful SMGs in the game, if not the most powerful, because of the, you know, the 15 to 20 round magazine. I have the 26 on it, yes, as you will see. But again, this SMG hasn't really been nerfed. The only nerf it had was actually the gunplay changes, and it actually still plays like the previous updates. So, and you know, it shows a little bit of fraudness in people's, you know, shooting this game. So you can even do better. You can do even better in this game with that weapon if you know what you're doing. So the SCW10 is a very good weapon. Don't really use it too much, but I know that it's a very good weapon. So we're going to get to the next SMG. It's going to be the Scorpion, the CZ3A1. The CZ3A1. It is my personal favorite SMG in the game. I do love the Scorpion, and not the little penny wagon pea shooter Scorpion that we get in our back pocket in this game, but I do love the Scorpion Evo and everything like that about this that's in this game. The Scorpion is a very strong weapon. The gun actually has velocity like a 700, even though it's like a 400 or 300 now with the gunplay changes, but it's still a very good weapon. It might have a little bit of bugs, but it probably got changed back to normal, who knows. But again, it's still the best weapon in my situation for using in the SMG category. And I'm going to add an honorable mention in the game for the SMG category. I'm going to do the P90 and the, what other weapon was that? P90 and the KV9, the Vector. So those two weapons are very good. One, the P90 is a big laser beam, and the KV9 is just a shredder. You just shred in close quarter combat, but you get that magazine capacity really low very quickly. So if you want to use those two weapons for an honorable mention, you can use those. And I have another carbine, or assault rifle actually, it's not a carbine in this game, the L85A3. So the L85A3 doesn't really get used too often. It's a mid-range beast, and it's also a long-range beast if you know what you're doing and you know your build with the weapon. It's a very good weapon, and weapon Hey, people don't use it, but do not know how powerful that thing is. Thing is very powerful, and I do love it. It's one of my, I can't say it's my favorite, but it does look very cool in regards to other weapons in this game. And the L85, you can try it. You can do your best with building this weapon, progression, and everything like that. So I'm going to get to the next weapon. It's going to be the M16A4. The M16A4, it's a new weapon that was brought in Season 3, I think. Season 3, Season 2, Season 3. It felt long, so I guess Season 3. And we're waiting for Season 4 right now anyway. So M16A4 is the OG of the OGs of Battlefield weapons. And of course, it did not disappoint. It is incomparable, one of the best guns in the game. And you have to know how to build it. For my build, obviously you will see I have full auto. Full auto makes this gun way better. Of course, the burst in this game does feel nice. And it feels like BF3 and BF4 burst. It doesn't feel like no whack burst. Like you can't really like demonstrate the burst in the game. Like how 2042 was, and it started with having burst, right? So that is a very good weapon. Just prioritize it and build it to your best ability. That's a very good weapon, 16A. So we're going to get to the last weapon in this game. I know I could have did way more weapons, but that's going to be saved for a tier list. And a tier list is going to be, I don't know when it's going to come, but obviously it's going to be different than other videos and everything like that. But you know, going to the last weapon is going to be the M433. So y'all know the M433, it hasn't been changed at all. It's just still one of the best weapons in the game, the competitive favorite, and it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. So the M433, use that weapon if you want to just demolish everything in your path and just do whatever you can do to make the enemy suffer. That's what this weapon is about. And yeah, the M433 is one of the best weapons in the game. And just know that, hey, this new update, the guns in this game play even better. Plays even better. So hope y'all enjoyed this video. That's my weapon, my top weapons in this category. I just wanted to do different weapons. I did not want to do the big, like, just beast weapons in this game because everybody already knows those weapons. We already know them. We already acknowledge them. We already know that they are top of a tier list. So those weapons are underrated weapons that you can use, and just know that it's going to be some time to get used to those type of weapons because they're not the most powerful. But again, prioritize your gunplay, your gameplay, your situational awareness, your game sense, of course, what I mean, and everything like that, and you will be all right, and you will like, you know, a choice of different weapons in this game. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I am out.